Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly Kane, and I'm the Marketing Manager for Wonderware NorCal. Thank you for attending our Water and Wastewater SCADA Made Easy webinar today. After the webinar this morning, we will be doing a short Q&A. Please type any questions or comments into the Q&A box, the chat box, or email us at webinar@norcal.wonderware.com. Now I'd like to introduce your presenter for today's webinar, Mike Lapitan. Mike is an automation industry expert and has been with Wonderware NorCal for the last 6 years. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, good morning, Kelly. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our webinar, Water and Wastewater SCADA Made Easy. Water and wastewater is one of our specialties as far as domains and industries that we serve here in Northern California. We have hundreds of water and wastewater installations, and so that means we have lots of experience to share with you. So before we get started, I did want to point out our website here, norcal.wonderware.com. We do have a SCADA homepage here. So if you want to learn more about Wonderware SCADA offerings, you can come here to our SCADA page, and there's lots of links for tutorials and other recorded webinars we've done, data sheets and videos and white papers on water and wastewater SCADA solutions. So we have case studies here as well that you can take a look at. I also wanted to point out on our website, this is where you can register for our free workshops. Free workshops are half-day events in our San Francisco office and our training facility, allow you to get hands-on experience using Wonderware solutions that you can use in water and wastewater applications. For example, next week on April 16th and 17th, we're offering an InTouch hands-on workshop, and I know we have one seat available, I believe, on Wednesday. Other than that, the event is full. We'll be having another event next month in June called Wonderware Mobile Hands-On. That's specifically around mobile access, remote access to your SCADA system. If we just take a look at an example agenda here of our InTouch hands-on workshop, you can see that we create an InTouch application. That means we create some windows and embed some graphics, animate graphics, and configure PLC communication. And so it's a great introductory to InTouch and getting started with SCADA. We also have our training schedule on our website here, so you can see our upcoming training classes as well as upcoming webinars and recorded webinars. So all of our webinars are recorded, and you can review the previous webinars that we've done. So we're going to start with a short introduction of Wonderware and Wonderware NorCal and Wonderware in the water industry, and we'll talk about the SCADA solutions we offer, look at some example SCADA architectures including pricing, and then I'm going to go through a demo. We're going to look at the industry pack for water and wastewater, which is a free demo application and graphic library from Wonderware. We'll look at our maintenance management software that can be embedded and integrated with SCADA for maintenance work orders. We'll show you our new graphics library called InTouch Situational Awareness, very cool new graphic library. And we'll show you web-based SCADA, how you can access your SCADA system via a web page. We'll look quickly at the historian for data collection and trending, integration with Excel for reporting, as well as doing SQL queries. And then we'll also look at Dream Reports, another reporting tool to satisfy reports that you may need. And we'll take a quick look at beyond traditional SCADA, other solutions that we have for supporting continuous improvement and smart city initiatives. And then we'll take Q&A. So if you have questions during the webinar, type them into the chat panel, and we'll address them at the end of the webinar. So again, a couple of slides, brief presentation on who Wonderware is. We've been around since 1987. 1/3 of the world's plants and facilities use Wonderware. That equates to over 650,000 licenses to date, over 140,000 locations. Great reputation for being the easiest to use and the best preservation of investment. If you put in Wonderware 25 years ago, that same application can run today on Windows 8 without having to rebuild that application. So we're the only SCADA vendor that has that history and that longevity, giving customers forward support. We work with a large system integrator channel, 3,500 system integrators worldwide. Here in Northern California, we work with about 75 companies that are registered Wonderware developers to help support you with your installations and projects. Wonderware is scalable. You can start small and grow over time and add functionality as you need it. We are the Wonderware distributor in Northern California since 1992. We are a company owned by E&M Electric based out of Northern California. We have an office in Healdsburg as our corporate office, and then our training office is in San Francisco. So we've been around since 1955 in the automation business. We have 58 years of experience to share. And Wonderware corporate is in Lake Forest in Southern California. So you can get training both in our San Francisco office as well as at Wonderware corporate, where development is based out of in Southern California. I mentioned the workshops and webinars. We also provide local technical support, system consulting, and obviously license sales. We have a great reputation in the field for our tech support, being very responsive, easy to get a hold of, and knowledgeable. So we get, again, really great feedback from everybody who leverages tech support to maintain their applications and support our customer base with development efforts. So our mission for water and wastewater is to deliver products that help water and wastewater customers provide reliable, affordable service that delivers high-quality water in compliance with regulatory requirements. So we help with that reliability, being cost-efficient, and being compliant. That's really the goal of SCADA and Wonderware, is to give you eyes on your operation, on your assets, your equipment that are responsible for providing safe, reliable water, and making sure that you've got that process in control, you've got visibility into anything that might be starting to going out of control so you can react to it very quickly and resolve any issues. Wonderware is a corporate member of the major water associations, and this slide here, this number is probably about 3 or 4 years old, 28,000 licenses of Wonderware software and water and wastewater applications. And so you can imagine how that has probably grown over the past few years. Again, just a brief history of InTouch. If you had InTouch in 1987, you can migrate that up now to 2014. We're now at InTouch version 11, and again supporting Windows 8 and Windows Server 2012. We even support virtualization. So if your company is using VMware or Hyper-V, we support virtualization for high availability and disaster recovery. There is a free download of water and wastewater graphics available from the Wonderware Developer Network. That's the Wonderware Tech Support website. It's built specifically for water and wastewater. We'll show you that in a demo. To take a high-level look at our SCADA solutions, starting on the left-hand side, we have low-cost operator panels. If you've got remote pump stations, lift stations, or you've got a plant that's got touch panels and enclosures, for example, we have low-cost operator panels. And we also have InTouch, which is the most commonly used HMI, human-machine interface software in the world. And that's what you can view your plant operations and assets and data with, and you can control your plant as well. So InTouch is the HMI that the operators use to monitor and control the plant. We have InTouch Read-Only, which is a cheaper license that just allows you to only view the operations and not actually control, turn anything on and off, and change set points. And then we also have Satel wireless radios for your telemetry needs to get communication out to your remote pump stations and lift stations and wells. And then in the middle here, we've got Entron industrial Ethernet switches, as we need to network our devices, our PLCs, and our computers. And Entron are made in the USA industrial Ethernet switches, and we're a stocking distributor. Great reputation for reliability. And then we have our Historian, which is what you use for data collection for analysis and reporting purposes. So most commonly used industrial plant historian in the world, and very popular in water and wastewater for regulatory compliance and ensuring that our operations are running within control. We have email, text, and phone notification for remote alarms. A lot of times we don't staff operations 24/7, so we need people to get a phone call if there is a critical alarm that needs to be responded to, and so we provide that functionality. Then we have System Platform, which we'll talk a little bit about. It's just a newer, more modern way to build up SCADA systems that provide some additional functionality we'll talk about. We provide remote access, and that can be in the form of a laptop or a thin client or even a tablet or a smartphone these days we'll talk about. We have Enterprise Historian, which allows you to replicate data from the SCADA network to your business network. That way, folks that need to get access to your plant data on the business network can get secure access to that data without going onto the SCADA network. So that's becoming increasingly popular. We have a web portal for viewing live screens, trends, alarms, and reports. We have integration with maintenance management software for maintenance work orders. And we have mobile apps as well for viewing data. And we also have video surveillance solutions. So that's a high-level overview. Customer First is what we call our software maintenance, which allows you to get free software upgrades as well as free phone technical support. So here's an example of a 7-inch operator panel starting at under $700. And so again, very cost-effective operator panels. And look for events later this year, workshops where we'll be doing hands-on events to program touch panels. InTouch HMI, that's the typical SCADA node meaning a SCADA computer. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, so that's what InTouch does. It provides you supervisory control of your plant operations. And #1 HMI in the world, great reputation for ease of use. Core functionality includes visualization, logging alarms, and viewing real-time alarms. There is trending historical logging in InTouch out of the box, and it has checkbox redundancy so that you can put in redundant InTouch computers. So if one goes down, planned or unplanned, the second InTouch computer can continue to run uninterrupted. It works with your existing automation infrastructure regardless of what PLC or communication protocol your RTU supports. We support Modbus Serial and Modbus TCP, any PLC like Allen Bradley, GE, Modicon, SCADA Pack. We support DMP3 as well. InTouch Access Anywhere is accessing that same InTouch HMI that allows you to monitor and control your SCADA system from a web page. And what that means is that any device that has a browser that supports HTML5, such as Safari or Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, you can access your SCADA system via a web page. And we have security mechanisms behind that to ensure that only the people with the proper credentials get access to that. And that's something that we do more extensively in our Wonderware mobile hands-on workshop next month. Wonderware Historian is an invaluable tool for SCADA systems because we need to collect data so that we can see what our process looks like over time. We need to see what the data looks like over the past few hours or the past 24 hours or maybe even the past week in the form of a trend. Maybe we need to do a report to satisfy some regulatory reporting. For example, do monthly reports, and that Historian allows you to do that right inside of Excel. We have a tool called Query, which I'll show you as well, allows you to do data mining in the Historian, to go look at your data without having to learn SQL or structured query language, which most other databases require you to learn SQL in order to retrieve data out of the database. So just a high-level architecture of what the Wonderware Historian looks like. It's a centralized database for all your real-time data sources, all your PLCs and RTUs. And I'll talk about how we get manual data into the Historian as well. And then anybody who needs access to that data then can use Historian Client or use any other reporting tool that can leverage SQL. It's an open database in that regard. And the Wonderware Historian can be used without any other Wonderware software. It doesn't require you to use the Wonderware InTouch HMI. So Historian is oftentimes put in simply just for data collection, reporting, and analysis without even an InTouch HMI front end. So Trend, extremely popular tool. Every water wastewater customer in Northern California uses trends because they're critical to understanding our process, making sure that we're running within our control and within our plan, whether we're looking at pH or dissolved oxygen, levels, pressures, valves opening and closing. That's a great troubleshooting tool to understand, are we trending in the right direction, or are we starting to deviate outside of our expected control limits, and so we can react to that in real time. The Historian Client add-in to Excel is called Workbook, and again, this allows you to access all of your historical plant data inside of Excel for reporting purposes, and I'll show you that. And Query, you can see there's an example of structured query language in the middle of that circle there. That's what you don't have to learn, you don't have to write. We give you a point-and-click interface to select the tags you want, the time period you want, how you want to retrieve the data, and it provides the result of that query, the data set, and then you can bring that data set into Excel. And I'll show you an example of how you can do that. The This is an architecture drawing of a example Tier 1 to Tier 2 historian, meaning on a Tier 1 at the bottom we have the SCADA domain where the historian is connected to our real-time devices collecting data, and then we can replicate that data up to a Tier 2 historian, an enterprise historian that's sitting on the business network. So that's a secure replication through a firewall, through a single TCP port that your IT department can pick which port they want to open up. And now everybody in your business domain can access the SCADA information for reporting and analysis without having to go onto the SCADA network, because if they're not operators, they don't need to control the plant. They really don't need to be on the SCADA network. And for cybersecurity purposes, it's much more secure now to keep users that don't need to be operating the plant, keep them off of that network, not exposing the SCADA network to the outside world. We also have the capability now of replicating your historian data to the cloud. And so that means you don't have to get a server, a physical server, to put that Tier 2 historian on for your business access. We can replicate it to the Microsoft cloud called Azure. And now you're not responsible for making sure that data is backed up and making sure that data is available. And remember, this is just data, so everybody's concerned about security with the cloud. But you have to think about, well, what's the worst case scenario if somebody were to get my data? You know, what harm could they do? You can't alter the original data in the Wonderware historian. Okay, that's a function that we have for other industries that are validated, and it's a requirement that you can't alter the original data. You can update new data, but the original data is always going to be there. So, you know, again, this is not taking control of your plant. If somebody got access to this data, they would just have your process data with your temperatures and flows and pH and such. So just you have to think about worst case scenario that if somebody got access to this data, it's read-only data. It's not taking control of your plant. But the benefit of the cloud historian is it's now Microsoft's responsibility for making sure that data is secure, available, and backed up. So you don't have to. It reduces the burden of IT. It reduces IT costs is the reason why we go to the cloud for these kinds of solutions. The historian also has what are called summary tags, and I'll show you an example of this. But if you know for your report that you need 15-minute data, you're gonna have to report on your 15-minute turbidity, or maybe you need to do daily aggregations. You need to look at daily flow. Summary tags can do this automatically for you, and I'll show you an example of how you can do that. We also have redundant historians, so if one historian goes down, you still need access to historical data, then a second historian can continue to run and provide that data, and when the historian that's down, whether it's planned or unplanned, when it comes back online, it can get automatically backfilled so that both historians really have the same data set, the same tags, the same data, and that can happen automatically without any custom scripting. Okay, so we've done that in a workshop as well, where we've configured redundant historians. And then we also have Dream Reports, which is a reporting tool to simplify creating reports, simplify sharing reports via a web page, automatically emailing them, printing them out, scheduling them to run. They can run based on events such as runtime hours of equipment. You can automatically email somebody a maintenance report, or it can be based on an alarm. They automatically create a report and send it to people. It connects to any data source, not just Wonderware. So Dream Reports is a really open connectivity reporting tool. It doesn't require any programming or scripting skills. And we create some Dream Reports in our reporting workshop. So if you come to our reporting workshop, we'll build up some reports, show you how that works. We also have a maintenance management system called ER Portal, and this is for maintenance work orders, asset management, inventory, even doing purchase orders, so scheduling work orders based on time, as well as having work orders automatically be generated based on runtime hours or alarms or conditions. And I'll show you an example of integration with SCADA and maintenance systems. So here's an example SCADA architecture, a single SCADA workstation. Maybe this is a small water district starting out, or maybe they only have a couple thousand connections, and so they would only need an InTouch runtime 1000 tag license to run their system. A tag is, again, a pressure, a flow level that you're monitoring, And so 1,000 tags for monitoring and control, plus a small historian, 100 tag historian for doing 100 tags of data collection that allows you to do all of the trending and Excel reporting with support. So that means phone technical support and software upgrades. You can get started for under $5,000 on a single SCADA workstation. So what if, for example, we want redundant SCADA workstations, right? We want to, what if that primary SCADA workstation goes down? We want to continue to run uninterrupted with a second workstation. So you could add a second workstation, and for both workstations and support, you'd be looking at under $10,000. Okay, so this is a complete SCADA system that would give you all the SCADA functionality that most people require. We also have remote access and thin clients. We're very good at thin client architectures. Basically, a thin client does not have to have a Windows operating system on it, which is really desirable if we've got lots of workstations, more than 5 workstations, because we can put the Wonderware software on just a server, a single server, or a pair of redundant servers, and then everybody else can just be a thin client or a mobile device like an iPad, and you don't have to install any Wonderware software or SCADA software on the client itself. The client can be configured at the terminal server with ACP or without ACP. You can just do straight remote desktop to the server. And here's an example of adding a remote access client. So we want to add a server. We want to add a remote access client that can remote in and also access the SCADA system, again, via a laptop or a home office computer or an iPad or even their phone, just using straight remote desktop. And you could add that functionality. Again, now we're looking at under 12K. So just some example SCADA architectures of how you can get started with Wonderware SCADA. And then we also have System Platform. So System Platform still uses InTouch as the HMI, as the front end. So it's going to look the same to an operator, whether you're using InTouch or System Platform. But the back end, how you develop the system is going to be different. Instead of tag-based, we mentioned InTouch tags, and most all HMI applications these days are tag-based. System Platform is object-based. So for example, if you've got a pump station, you can create a pump station object, and that pump station object can have all of the equipment out there. If you've got a pump, you've got a well, you've got some flow meters, maybe you've got some chemicals that you need to keep track of, and so all that's contained within an object. And so if you've got multiple pump stations that are similar, you can reuse that object over and over. That object contains the graphics for that pump station. So it's a little more organized model. With System Platform, you also get out-of-the-box redundant store and forward to the historian. So if the historian ever goes down for any reason, System Platform goes into automatic store and forward. So when the historian comes back online, it automatically backfills the historian. So that's a very nice capability of System Platform. So to look at a pricing example and architecture with System Platform, you could have the redundant clients, 2 redundant nodes, InTouch nodes with System Platform, and a small historian, again, for under 11K. So about the same price as InTouch, and you can get the System Platform functionality. Also has really good integration with Active Directory domain controller for security and integration with IT. All right, so let's take a quick look at a demo. We're going to look at the industry pack for water and wastewater within InTouch, and we'll look at how that can be integrated with a maintenance management system. We'll look at the new situational awareness graphic library, and then we'll show you InTouch Access Anywhere, which is web-based SCADA. Take a quick look at historian trends, Excel reporting and query, as well as dream reports. Okay, so here's an example water and wastewater SCADA demo where I've got a map of Southern California, and I've got some pump stations here I can drill into. So I'm going to go ahead and drill into this lift pump station, and I can see I've got my Trabuco pump station number 1, and I've got a flow meter here, and I can see what my current flow is and my totalized flow. And I've got a pump here, pump 003. If I click on the left side of this pump, I can pull up my pump faceplate and see how many hours that pump's been running. I can take it out of auto mode and force start and stop that pump. So all these graphics are a part of the water and wastewater industry library that are free. So there's flow meters and wells and pumps and different instrumentation that are common to water and wastewater. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click on the right side of this pump as an example and to show you how we can integrate maintenance systems with InTouch. Now, this pulls up my maintenance system. And I can see maintenance activity history on this asset. So I can see pump 003 has work orders assigned to it. I can see when they were created, who they were requested by, what the notes are. So I can look at history on it as well as upcoming maintenance. I can go ahead and create a new work order and say that this is a priority 1 and it's requested by Mike, and that the work requested here is that the workshop demo request is my note for my maintenance report. So I can see that a new work order is created, 305009. Click OK, and now I can see I've got a new work order request for my workshop demo. And I'm going to go ahead and close this now, and I'm going to go into my maintenance system. So if I'm the maintenance supervisor, and I might get an email that says I've got a maintenance work order request, I can go into my maintenance system here. Now this is called ER Portal, and I can see I've got new work requested called Workshop Demo Request here, and I can see what asset it's for and the asset code. I could open up that asset code. I could open up the work order. I'll go ahead and open up the work order, and then I'll be able to see who it was requested by. It was requested by Mike, and I want to go ahead and assign it then to Bernie, and I could then save that. I could open it up in my GIS system to see where that pump is. I could come here to my asset history to look at that same history of this asset. I could look at my asset information tab and look at a picture of that asset, and look at the O&M manual that's linked, my PDF document for my O&M manual, so that's all readily available. I might have a map to see where it's physically located, and maybe some directions as well as integration with GIS. If I had a form to fill out as well, I could print out that form, or I could fill out that form electronically. So I'll go ahead and save this. And then if I'm a George, for example, I might be a maintenance instrument tech here, and I can just see what my current work orders are. So I could go in and I could open up this work order here for my summer checklist, and I could enter my checklist data. And so in this case, I've just got some radio buttons I have to answer yes or no questions to, but I might be entering values as well. And I can fill out those forms. Again, these work orders can be scheduled based on a calendar. They can also be automatically generated based on runtime hours and alarms in your SCADA system. So let's go ahead and take a look now at a couple of, an example of the situational awareness graphic library. This is an example water plant here where I've got 4 different filters here. And so I've got filter 100, 200, 300, and 400. And so I can see some these spark charts here. These are the trend, and I can see my effluent turbidity has kind of gone up a little bit. Right now I'm at 0.25 NTU, and right now I'm looking at some gauges here, looking at flow, influent, level, and effluent. And I can see that I'm in service, I'm in automatic mode, and I can see where my turbidity is. If you look at this meter right here where turbidity is nice because I can see where my current value is, my actual value. I mouse over it, I'm at 0.25. I can see that I'm starting to go into this white area, which might be my low kind of alarm area where I might want to start paying attention to this. And if I do go into that low alarm or a high alarm area on the right-hand side, then that graphic will automatically highlight with an alarm border. I can see where my desired set point is, where the gray vertical line is there. So I can see I'm still within this gray area in the middle. That's my, it's my acceptable range. But I can see I'm starting to approach that I'm dropping. My turbidity is kind of dropping, getting a lower low. And I could drill into that if I want to. Let's go ahead and we'll drill into filter 200. I'll click on filter 200 down here at the bottom. And so this gives me a little more operational view of my filter 200, and again I can see my my tank level here is at 40 inches, and that I can see that I'm in an alarm state. I've got this yellow alarm border here. If I needed to look at my legend, I can see that yellow indicates a high alarm. So it makes it very easy for an intuitive, for an operator to focus on where the color of the alarm border is, because we're using kind of gray as our standard color. We're not using a lot of different colors and animations unnecessarily. Only when we need to alert the operator's attention that there's an alarm that we need to pay attention to. So these are all situational awareness graphics library. Again, we can see what the actual value is of turbidity here, effluent. I can see where our set point is. So we're right on our set point, so that's good. But we can see if we were to drop below the acceptable range or above the acceptable range, it'd be easy to see that. Let's go ahead and look at a more high-level view of our system where we've got storage tanks, and again, it makes it very easy to see in my transfer system. I don't have to really know anything about this plant to know that, hey, I should focus on this transfer system here. And so I've got an alarm here that I could acknowledge. But again, just using limited use of color here, it makes it very easy and intuitive for anybody to focus in on the specific area that needs attention. And then I could look at my real-time alarms and historical alarms. I can see the number of alarms I've had and the types of alarms I've had by area by using this bar chart over on the right-hand side. So it's called Situational Awareness Library, and the whole point of it is to give operators an easy tool, an easy HMI to run their plant reliably, safely, and efficiently, right? Okay, so let's take a quick look at accessing our SCADA system via a web page. And I'm going to go back to my my home page here. I'm on Internet Explorer, and I open up a new tab. And let me go to my favorites link called InTouch Access Anywhere. And this is going to open up a web page that I have to enter my username and password for security purposes to then connect and get access to my SCADA system. So this is just using a web page to now get my InTouch application, which is now inside of the browser running in HTML5. So I can look at my reactor operation here. This is, again, full InTouch. You can have control capability if you maybe need to log in an additional time into the InTouch application to get control, or it can just be read-only by default. So I can look at my batch number here, my reactor level, my set points, my temperatures. I can even go into my historian trending right here inside this web page. And I can pick from my tag list here what tags I might want to trend. Put those into live mode. Okay, so this is called InTouch Access Anywhere, and this is web-based access to InTouch. It can be made read-only or with control. And if I want to log out now of my SCADA system, I can just literally close my browser tab here. So I'll just close it, leave the page, and that logs me out. Okay, so let's take a quick look inside the Historian Management Console here. And this is where we can do summary tags. See where it says local replication right here? These are some of the default schedules. I could have a 15-minute schedule, a 30-minute schedule, a daily schedule, where I know for my report I need to, let's just say for this example, I need 1-minute data. Right? So I created a 1-minute summary tag for my system performance CPU 0, and that's very easy to do just by clicking Add Single Tag and picking the tags from your historian list, which tags you want to create summary tags for. And now that I've already done that, what I can do is I can come into Excel, and I can launch query. So you can see right here inside of Excel I have this historian add-in. Right in my menu it says historian right inside of Excel. And if I click this direct query button, that'll open up my query window. And I've got my query type set to analog summary values. And so every minute, you can see starting at 10:19 when I created this summary tag, it's going to give me the value at that time, the timestamp, the minimum, the maximum within that 1-minute period, the average, the standard deviation, the totalized flow if I've got a flow meter. And so if I need to do an hourly report, a 15-minute report, a daily report, I can just create the summary tags, and it will automatically do all of these aggregations for me. And it's writing the structured query language for me behind the scenes, the SQL. And I don't have to pay attention to that unless I want to do some custom SQL. But if all I really care about is my 1-minute data in this case, my min, max, average, standard deviation, integral, and first value every minute, I can just click OK. And now I've got my 1-minute report. So it's a way to very easily create some really out-of-the-box reports. And what if I wanted to do an uptime, downtime report? I can do a tag analysis report and do discrete tag analysis. and I'll just use system pulse as a tag, and I'll do 10 minutes starting from, we'll say 10 o'clock. Oops, changed the date on accident. No, I didn't, 4/11. And we'll click next and finish. And now I've got an uptime, downtime report for any of my critical motors or pumps that I want to see what was my actual utilization, how much did I actually run my pump or my motor. I can see what my total uptime and downtime was. So you can see it's very easy to start getting data inside of Excel using the historian, and this is just a very quick overview. If you come to a plant reporting workshop that we do, we spend a full half day creating reports. The point is the data is now in Excel, and so that I can do any additional formulas I might want to do inside of Excel or additional charting. And then we also have Dream Reports, and this is the Dream Reports web portal so that I can share reports via web page, whether it's just an internal web page or maybe a public web page. Here's an example monthly operating report looking at my daily water distribution from wells to storage tanks, purchased water into distribution, purchased water into storage. So you got total daily production on by day here. And let me go into the development environment for Dream Reports here. This is the monthly operating report in my development environment. This is where I can go to my driver configuration and see where I want to get my data from. Is it going to come from the Wonderware historian or from InTouch? We've got open communication protocols for Modbus and OPC and ODBC, and we have some direct drivers as well for even iFix. So I can pick my data source. And then I've got these report objects on the right-hand side that I configure. And so this is, I'll go ahead and open up this configured object, and this is what's called a step table. And I've created 7 columns in this table, and I'm looking at a fixed period over the course of a month, and the step period is 1 day. So I could look at daily totals, for example, every day for the course of a month. And then if I look at my columns here, my captions, there's from wells to distribution. And if I wanted to look at the tag where that comes from, so here's where I pick my data source that I've defined. If I want to use my Wonderware historian, there's all my historian tags. And then I can pick my statistical function that I want. So I want the first value, the last value in that time period, the max, the time at max, the min, the time at min, totalized flow, average, uptime, downtime. You can do all of that. Then I can come into report settings, and I can specify when I want that report to run. Is it going to be run every day at 3 o'clock, for example, or is it going to run at the last day of the month? It's just a checkbox to pick when I want this report to automatically be generated. And when it's generated, do I want it to be shared on a web page, be in PDF format, be emailed to people, printed out, or pushed into Excel? So all of this is just checkbox type reporting and configuration. Very easy to build reports and automate reports with Dream Reports. And finally, for our demo, let's just take a quick look at trend. These are historian trends. Historian is very easy to install. Anybody can install the historian. It doesn't require anybody with any database or IT knowledge. We have tech notes that walk you through step by step, and it can be done in a couple hours to have a historian installed and connected to a data source. And then once you have data in your historian, you can pick from your historian tag list here on the left-hand side. I'm just going to double-click on a tag, my system performance, put it into live mode, and now I can go back to any period in time I was storing history for and look at any duration. Maybe I'll just look at a 15-minute duration here instead. And I can compare multiple tags against each other. I can stack them. I can auto-scale them. I can look at the data log that makes up the data that makes up that trend. I can save that as a CSV if I want. I can add notes to these trends. I can get quick statistics as well for min, max, average, time at min, time at max. Compare discrete tags against analog tags, so I can compare pressure when valve was opening or a pump started. So here's a discrete tag. Okay, so this is historian client trend. This can be embedded right inside of InTouch, or it doesn't require InTouch at all. Okay, we mentioned remote alarm notification earlier. Win911 is the most common tool that we use nowadays for getting a phone call, an email, or a text message based on a critical alarm that people can acknowledge. A SCADA alarm is kind of a legacy product now at this point. It's still supported on Windows XP, but moving forward, SCADA alarm is not supported on Windows 7. So we offer a trading credit for SCADA alarm towards Win911. We also have Top View as well, which has an OPC interface to also do phone calls, emails, and text messages. If you're going to do a phone call, you have to use an analog phone modem, which we can provide. If you want to do text messages, you can either use an SMS gateway to do email to text, or you can use a cellular modem, which we can provide as well, and that allows you to do bidirectional alarm notification and acknowledgement through text messages. We have Entron Ethernet switches, fiber and copper, managed and unmanaged, and you can do monitoring on the switches even in an unmanaged switch, which are really nice. Very cost competitive. We're a stocking distributor, made in the USA, extremely reliable and robust. And we have Citel wireless radios for UHF and VHF radios, spread spectrum for communications out to your remote sites. We also have cellular radios, not only from Citel, but also through Red Lion. So whether you use AT&T or Verizon, we can put a cellular modem out at a remote site and pretty much have instant connectivity out to that remote site. We have video surveillance solutions through LongWatch. That includes both industrial cameras, IP cameras, as well as the software to view that video. You can embed the video inside of SCADA. You can get event-based notifications like alarms right in your SCADA system that there might be an event that was triggered by a video, such as an intrusion alarm, and see who's physically out there. And also for operational reasons, you want to monitor some levels, make sure you're not having any spills or overflows. You can put video out at a remote site. Mobile solutions, I mentioned InTouch Access Anywhere, which is web-based access to InTouch. We also have SmartGlance, which is an app that you can download today for free on your phone. If you look at SmartGlance on the App Store, that allows you to look at your historian data and reporting right on your phone. Very easy. We have IntelliTrack, which is for mobile operator rounds. And we also have Workflow, which supports continuous improvement in responding to abnormal events and provide an electronic audit trail that you followed your procedures. So let's take a look at a few of these things. So SmartGlance, here's a screenshot of what the SmartGlance app looks like. It allows you to look at your historian data in the form of data tables and charts. Again, a free app you can download to try and look at example data. And it connects directly to your historian as well as Excel or a SQL database. Wonderware IntelliTrack, you can see the mobile handheld the gentleman is holding right there. This is for operational rounds, for maintenance and health and safety and security and calibration, data collection out in the field. So we're all familiar with the round sheets that we currently probably do on paper and a clipboard. So it's about moving these round sheets into an electronic mobile handheld device. And so you can see it's an example of what the screen might look like where somebody's going to do some data collection out in the field. Something unique about IntelliTrack is if they collect a data point or do an inspection that fails, they fail an inspection, or the data they collect is an alarm type of value, then it can guide them and prompt them on how to proceed next, who they should notify, what action they should take, so you can build in your standard operating procedures right into the mobile handheld device. And once the procedures are completed, you can dock the handheld on a cradle, which would be on your network, and it will update the database. It'll update the Wonderware historian with all the data, as well as a standard Microsoft SQL Server database. So you have an electronic record of when the rounds were completed, by who, what was missed, what were the exceptions. And this IntelliTrack mobile device does not require an internet connection or a Wi-Fi connection. You can take it off the cradle and you can take it out in the field, and it's completely standalone. I can even update the Wonderware HMI. And we also have a workflow tool, which we'll be seeing more of as water and wastewater industries get more regulated. We have standard operating procedures that are on paper when we have events like spills, and this is a way to move that electronically, so we have better tracking that we can prove and have an audit trail of. So, for example, if we have a high turbidity event, we have an alarm. You know, what's our best practice? What do we do? Where's that SOP? Workflow allows you to have that SOP triggered and sent automatically to people. So you see there's a Visio type interface, a workflow type interface to configure if you have an event, who gets notified, what gets sent to them. Is it a form that has to be filled out, an approval that has to happen? So again, we have a high alarm event. Currently, you might just have you get an email or a notification, but it stops there. So workflow continues the standard operating procedure until it's complete. So in this case, an operator has a high turbidity event. They get a pop-up. It says, hey, you've got a high turbidity event. Fill out a form. Have you turned the system from manual to auto? What's the water level reading? Is the backwash valve open? All right, so they have to complete this form. Once the form is completed, it gets sent to Sally, the supervisor, and she gets an email notification that says, hey, we had this event. This form was filled out. Review it. And she can review it, enter comments, approve, or reject the form. If she approves the form, the workflow continues. Joe, the operator, gets notified that the form was approved, and then it gives him directions on what to do next. The process is in control. It's been reviewed by maintenance. Please restart the filtration. So he restarts the filtration, and the workflow is completed, and all is well. So workflow can be used for alarm handling and corrective actions, standard operating procedures, electronic work instructions, QA lab sampling, and lockout tagout processes. So anything you can think of where you need to track that your standard operating procedures are being followed and have that audit trail, workflow is great for. So in summary, Wonderware in the water and wastewater industry is the lowest risk SCADA solution. It's proven, it's been around the longest, and has the best support. And we've got lots of different ways to grow with your business, including historian for data collection, integration with maintenance systems. We didn't get to GIS in this presentation, but we can integrate with GIS systems. We can provide secure remote access from mobile devices, smart devices, and provide mobile KPIs. And we have workflow, and we also have corporate energy management. So if you want to track energy usage, whether that's electrical, water, power, air, steam, we have an energy management application as well that we didn't get to. So upcoming events, InTouch Software Part 1 training is a 4-day class in May. And then we have our Wonderware Mobile Hands-On Workshop on Wednesday, June 4th. And if nobody has signed up during the course of this webinar, I know we have 1 seat available for our workshop next Wednesday on InTouch Hands-On, getting started with the InTouch HMI. So you can register at norcal.wonderware.com. Kelly, do we have any questions in the chat panel?
And just so you know, it looks like that seat still is open. So.
Okay, great, excellent.
We do have a few questions. The first one is, how can I find out more about the Wonderware system I have?
Yeah, it's a common question. A lot of times people, have put in Wonderware 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and they haven't really done a whole lot to it, and they want to get more out of it. They need better data collection. They need better reporting. They need mobile access, remote access. And so that's just a matter of us working with you to find out what it is that you own, how can you leverage what you already own, get more out of it, and then figure out your needs as far as what additional capabilities you might be looking for, and we can provide a path forward on how you can add those capabilities.
Okay. The next one is, we are using a SCADA package that is no longer supported. What should we do next?
That's also very common. There's a lot of SCADA packages out there that have come and gone. Support is now maybe out of China, and it takes a week or 2 to get an email back on a question you might have, and that's no way to run a business. So we provide a competitive trading credit for third-party SCADA systems to replace with Wonderware, and so we can give you a discount on trading in your old with Wonderware. And we can help you get started as well, whether that means helping you install software to get started, or if you want to bring in a integrator to help you out, we can recommend somebody in your area that has expertise in your particular application.
Okay, and it looks like this is the final question. What operating systems does Wonderware support?
Yeah, so the current version of Wonderware just came out a month or two ago. It's called InTouch 11.0. We did drop support for Windows XP along with Microsoft. I know that's a big concern for a lot of people as support for Microsoft has gone away. That means there's no more security updates and patches going to be available for XP. So people are now migrating to Windows 7 and Windows 8, and that is what we support in our current version. We also support Server 2008 R2 and Server 2012. And if you still are running on XP, that's okay. We can still support Windows XP with our previous version of InTouch, which would be 10.6 and some earlier versions as well.
Okay, and sorry, Mike, one other question did come in. What is a good thumb rule for a gigabyte per month per tag when installing a cell modem at an RTU?
When installing a what modem? A phone?
A cell modem.
A cell modem.
A cellular modem.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm assuming what he means.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. I've got that information. I can't give you an exact size off the top of my head, but the thing about process data is even though it's continuous, it's pretty small. It's really small data, and so honestly, if you only had a single tag that you're collecting over a cell modem from a remote site, it's really not going to be a large amount of data. It's not going to be in the gigabytes. It's going to be in the megabytes, and it's going to be pretty darn small. Again, the data is, we're looking at typically just analog, real values, and maybe some discretes. We're not talking about big files and video-sized data. So certainly in the megabytes level, not in the gigabytes level, for when we're talking about SCADA type of data over the course of a month. So I actually do have some tables that show some examples of how much data over a cellular network you might be using, and I can provide that as well. So I'll follow up with you on that.
Okay. So that is the last question, Mike. So thank you, Mike. And thanks everyone for attending. If anyone would like to review any portion of this webinar, a recording will be available on our website, norcal.wonderware.com, by Monday afternoon. And again, you can find more information about future webinars on our website. Thank you everyone for attending, and have a good weekend.
Thank you.